It is a quiet Tuesday morning in a peaceful sunlit home. You are standing in your kitchen, waiting for the coffee to brew, looking out the window at a driveway that needs resurfacing, and a car that is 5 years old parked outside. You pick up your phone and open your banking application and glance at the checking account balance on the screen. You pay the electric bill and schedule the car insurance payment, and close the application with a sense of calm relief. Your heart rate does not elevate during this routine task. Your chest does not tighten with the usual financial anxiety. You do not mentally calculate whether you can afford groceries, or if you need to wait until a direct deposit clears. You simply pay the obligations and move on with your morning. This absence of panic, this profound and unremarkable quiet, is the clearest indicator that your financial life has fundamentally shifted. You might not feel wealthy. You might still worry about the rising cost of property taxes or the eventual expense of replacing that aging car. But in the architecture of personal finance, this quietness is the foundation of wealth. It is the first, almost imperceptible sign that you are crossing the threshold from financial survival to financial independence. There is a deeply ingrained cultural assumption about what getting rich feels like. We are conditioned to believe that wealth announces itself with absolute certainty. We expect it to feel like a sudden, overwhelming arrival. It is characterized by a distinct and total lack of constraint. The narrative suggests that one day you wake up and limitations evaporate. You can buy whatever you want and travel wherever you desire. You never have to look at a price tag ever again. This belief is sticky because it provides a stark, cinematic contrast. It stands in opposition to the constant daily stress of scarcity. It is emotionally satisfying to imagine a finish line where the struggle ends. But this expectation is entirely detached from the reality of building wealth. True wealth accumulation does not feel like a flashy lottery commercial. Instead, it feels like chores and maintaining a boring daily routine. When building a permanent financial foundation, the process is methodical and slow. It is so gradual that you rarely notice the milestones passing by. You dismantle the illusion of sudden wealth by recognizing that getting rich is usually the result of a long series of highly constrained, completely unglamorous decisions. It is the decision to keep the paid-off vehicle instead of financing a new one. It is the choice to automatically route a portion of your paycheck into a retirement account before you ever see it. Because these actions are mundane, and because they require you to actively restrict your current consumption, the process of getting rich often feels like you are simply standing still. You are doing the right things, but your daily life remains thoroughly ordinary. You do not feel rich because your wealth is invisible to you. It is locked up in equity, tied up in index funds, and sitting quietly in emergency reserves. This invisibility is a structural feature of sound money management, not a flaw. Money operates on a strict order of operations, and those operations require trade-offs that permanently shape your reality. Building wealth means acknowledging fixed costs, time horizons, and income ceilings. If you bring home $6,000 a month and your mortgage, healthcare, and property taxes consume $3,500 of that, your reality is defined by the remaining margin. If you choose to direct $1,000 of that margin toward eliminating high-interest debt or funding an investment account, you are effectively choosing to live like someone who earns significantly less. You are engineering a constraint. Effort alone cannot override this structure. You cannot positively think your way out of the mathematical reality that saving for the future requires denying yourself something in the present. Therefore, the second sign that you are on the right path is that your lifestyle has not expanded to consume your entire income. You have actively chosen a lower standard of immediate consumption to fund a higher standard of future security. Consider a household earning $95,000 a year. They live in a standard suburban home paying $2,400 a month in housing costs for their family. They spend $1,000 on groceries and household essentials. After taxes, utilities, and insurance, the margins are tight. Yet, they manage to consistently invest $800 every single month. To them, the progress feels agonizingly slow. Watching an account balance grow by a few $100s at a time, especially when markets fluctuate, does not provide an adrenaline rush. It feels like dropping a pebble into a canyon. But over a decade, that relentless, boring $800 a month transforms into a massive and secure six-figure safety net. The trade-off was a decade of not driving luxury vehicles or taking lavish vacations. They traded visible status symbols for the peace of invisible financial stability. Their daily realities still consists of packing lunches and worrying about roof repairs. As you progress through financial stages, your relationship with money evolves. In the earliest stages, success is merely the cessation of drowning in debt. It is the moment the credit card balance finally hits zero. The strategy here is aggressive defense. You are fighting for breathing room. As you move into intermediate stages, having secured months of living expenses, the feeling shifts from desperation to a mild, persistent vigilance. You are no longer drowning, but you are acutely aware of the water. The strategies that worked initially, like radically slashing every discretionary expense, eventually reach diminishing returns. You cannot frugal your way to wealth. Eventually, you enter a stage where the focus shifts from managing debt to managing assets. This is where the third sign appears. Your financial goals stretch out over years. You are no longer thinking about how to pay for the holidays. You are thinking about how a compound interest curve looks in 20 years. This requires a completely different mindset. It requires normalizing delay. It means accepting that for a very long time, you will have significant sums. You will have significant sums of money that you absolutely cannot touch. You have to learn to ignore the fluctuations of the market and trust the long-term historical averages. This is why usefulness depends on the stage you are in. Advising someone struggling to pay rent to maximize retirement is useless. But advising someone with zero debt to keep clipping coupons is equally misguided. Progress is about moving sequentially through stages, adapting your behavior as the structure of your financial life changes. In practical reality, people who are quietly building wealth often feel like they are falling behind their peers. This is the fourth sign of the middle-class trap. You look around and see neighbors buying expensive recreational vehicles, renovating their kitchens, and taking elaborate, high-end international trips. Because you understand your own financial constraints so very intimately, you assume they must know a secret that you do not. You assume they are earning vastly more than you are or have discovered a clever flaw in the financial system. But behavioral finance shows us the pressure of societal expectation. Many people choose visible consumption over their own invisible security. They are simply choosing to finance a lifestyle they cannot afford. If you refuse to participate in that cycle, you will feel like an outlier. You will feel boring. But financial boredom is a highly advanced state of achievement. The fifth sign is that a minor disaster is no longer an existential threat. If the water heater bursts, it is incredibly frustrating. It ruins your weekend. It requires scheduling a plumber and cleaning up a mess. But it does not require you to put the cost on a credit card. At 22% interest, it does not force you to eat rice and beans. It does not force you to eat rice and beans for a month. You simply transfer the funds from a designated savings account and pay the invoice. The problem is reduced to a logistical inconvenience rather than a life-altering crisis. This transition from emergency to inconvenience is a profound marker of wealth, yet it is rarely celebrated because spending money on a water heater is fundamentally unsatisfying. The sixth sign is that you no longer memorize the date of your next paycheck. When you are living on the edge, the calendar is a tyrant. Every purchase is mentally weighed against the arrival of the next deposit. When you begin to build real wealth, the decoupling of your spending occurs. This decoupling happens between your spending and your earning cycle. The money in your account acts as a shock absorber. You pay your bills when they are due, regardless of pay dates. Whether you were paid yesterday or will be paid next week, your daily life detaches from the timeline of your employer's payroll. The seventh sign is that your anxiety has been replaced by respect. You respect the mechanics of money rather than fearing it. You do not view money as a magical force or self-worth. You view it as a tool with specific rules and limitations. You understand that every dollar assigned to an investment is a dollar that cannot be spent on dinner, and you are entirely at peace with that trade-off. You do not feel the need to optimize every single penny, nor do you feel the urge to splurge recklessly. You have found a sustainable rhythm that accommodates both your current reality and your future needs. The eighth sign is the slow realization that you are buying autonomy, not possessions. As your invisible wealth grows, the grip of your employer begins to loosen. The hold that creditors and circumstances have on you starts to fade. You may still go to the same job and drive the same car, but the psychological weight of those obligations is now vastly reduced. You are working because you choose to, following your own design. You are no longer working entirely out of desperate necessity. This shift in leverage is internal. No one else can see it.